The story starts with sympathy, a creator in pain.
And now we'll never know a day without pain again.
A person with a troubled past, a damaged body, and a dream of escaping Texas and starting over in England.
So my biggest goal right now is to be able to afford to move out of Texas around the new year.
It sounded compelling, maybe even tragic. But stories can be powerful tools, especially when people stop asking questions. Because while supporters were opening their wallets, another side of Tyler was taking shape online. From defending scandals, chasing controversy, drawing backlash from every direction, and exposing a pattern many people say was there from the start. Was Tyler trying to rebuild his life, or building something else entirely? Tyler seems like a regular trans person you might come across online. He likely would have gone unnoticed like many others, but something turned him into an internet sensation, for all the wrong reasons.
Better on an individual level, because at that point it's not about holding people accountable, it's about you getting to be a
Just in case you are confused, Wilbur sued as a YouTuber, a Minecraft creator, and a member of a band named Lovejoy. He was accused of his girlfriend. Wilbur's girlfriend, Shelby Grace, also known as Shubble, had a large online following, which she used as a platform to call Wilbur out and bring attention to the allegations. And while all of this was unfolding, Tyler chose to side with the accused abuser.
I do not think that Wilbur Soot is an and I know I've said that fairly indirectly in the past, especially recently, but I do feel like now it needs to be said point blank.
This support took a lot of people by surprise, and it brought a lot of new attention and audience to Tyler's page. But why would Tyler do that? Some began to question whether it was connected to his admiration or a possible crush on Wilbur.
But look at him, look! What's a man supposed to do?
Or maybe it all traces back to his background and the formative years that shaped Tyler into the person he is today.
My biological father is the worst person I've ever known, which is actually why when people ask, I usually just say he's dead, because he is dead to me.
Or could it be that Tyler is simply someone who is deeply troubled and struggles to tell right from wrong, especially considering that he does not seem to recognize clear red flags in a partner?
See what my red flags were the other day, and I had been thinking for days, and I literally can't think of any.
For you to fully understand how it got to this point, we need to go back to where it all began, starting our journey in the suburbs of Texas, in the United States. Tyler's originally from Oklahoma, but later moved to North Texas, where he still resides today. Tyler began his online career on platforms like TikTok and Instagram. On his pages, he presents himself as a transsexual person and as someone living with a disability. However, there has been a lot of debate surrounding his claims of disability, largely because he appears physically fine to many viewers. He was able to stand without difficulty and move around on his own. Tyler did not appear to need a wheelchair or a similar device for mobility in his daily life, except for one occasion. On that occasion, Tyler came online to ask for help related to his friend's upcoming wedding.
So I have this wedding that I have to be at in 2 weeks, and I've been trying for months to find something to wear because this is my childhood best friend. We've known each other our entire lives.
With the wedding approaching, Tyler went online to ask for help on what he should wear for the occasion. But during that discussion, he made a strange comment about his friend's family, claiming that they had excluded him from the wedding guest list.
And I'm not a part of the wedding party because, for those of you who don't know, I am transgender. It's not about her. She has her reasons, and I understand those reasons, but it still kind of hurts, you know?
Just in case you are not aware, Tyler was born biologically female and later transitioned to male. Tyler once posted a video of himself in 2019 looking all feminine. Tyler once made a post saying that people could now confidently claim that he was a man because of the transformation he believed had taken place. The name he was given at birth has not been publicly disclosed by Tyler. He has also spoken about being on testosterone for a period of time as part of his transition. This video was made in 2023, and if you go back a year earlier to 2022, when Tyler claimed he had started using testosterone, you will notice that his voice sounded much deeper at that time.
I am finally in a place in life where I can make my living off of my art.
In some other videos from around that same period in 2022, his voice also appeared noticeably deeper.
I'm going out of my mind at the moment trying to cram for a restock, so this is my way of giving myself a distraction. Here's my CD collection.
Another pattern that appears repeatedly in Tyler's videos is how he often portrays Texas as a place where he is being treated badly because he is a transgender person. This would become another major reason why Tyler went on a spree of financially manipulating his audience, asking them to send him money so he could leave Texas for what he described as a better and safer location. We will come back to this in a bit. In the meantime, his fans showed generosity, and before the wedding, they were able to help him get a proper suit for the event.
As promised, I would just like to take a second to thank everyone who helped me look this f***ing good. Holy shit, oh my god.
One thing you will notice here is that Tyler is using a walking stick. which might suggest that he has some issues with his legs. But in earlier videos, we have seen him moving and standing quite well, without any visible difficulty. So what could be going on? Still, at the very least, he appeared grateful for the outfit.
And to everyone who helped me pay for the rest of the outfit, I keep forgetting how wonderful TikTok is, and all of you are. Thank you so much.
If Tyler is not definitely physically disabled, then the only other possibility would be a mental condition. There have also been dedicated pages on Reddit where users claim that Tyler may have a mental disability, but Tyler pushed back against those claims in a video, while also describing himself as insane in the way artists are often expected to be. This contradictory response only added to the confusion among viewers.
I am actually entirely mentally sound. However, I am also fucking insane. I'm an artist. It comes with the territory.
The truth about Tyler's disability appears to trace back much earlier. In one video, he offered a brief glimpse into what it might be. In that video, he spoke about working for most of his life.
I've been working since I was 12. I've been employed since I was 12, and not by my parents. I've been paying bills since I was 15, and I've never had the opportunity to save money for myself.
Tyler went on to say that for most of his life, he could not remember a single year when he was without employment, until something he described as a tragedy occurred.
I'm not even sure if I've ever gone a full year without employment, even when I was hit by a car and should not have been working, and now will never know a day without pain again.
So it appears that the disability may be linked to a specific accident he experienced years ago. Tyler's background seems to be filled with challenges, struggles, and pain. To better understand this, let's hear him explain it in his own words.
My senior year of high school ended with me sleeping on a mattress on the floor in the empty bedroom of a 2-bedroom apartment me and my mother could barely afford, with nothing but 2 trash bags of clothes, a couple of my snow globes, and a couple of my books.
And at the center of all this chaos within his family, Tyler portrays his father as the main villain in his story.
My parents got divorced when I was a senior in high school, and I wish they'd done it sooner. My father had been cheating on my mother for who knows how long, and doing a whole bunch of other stuff that really made it seem like he just wanted her to kick him out.
Tyler admitted that the trauma from his background led to many mental health issues within his family, but he did not directly say that he had one himself. He explained that the trouble began one day when his father started shopping for holsters for his gun, and his wife didn't like guns.
The straw that really broke the camel's back was on Thanksgiving of all days, when my mother realized he had been shopping for holsters on their joint Amazon account. And because there were a lot of mental health issues in that house, my mother's one hard deal breaker was no firearms.
Tyler also said that his father made him and his siblings lie to their mother about the firearm, and when she eventually found out, chaos erupted inside their home.
So when she gave him an ultimatum, either it goes or you go, he ran like a bat out of hell.
When this happened, Tyler said he was the one who called his grandparents in an attempt to get his father under control, but it did not work. According to him, his father became increasingly unstable and began cutting off the family's support.
But the real kicker is that one of the first things he did was drain the family bank accounts. And as far as I know, every single one he had access to.
Tyler's mother started out working as a nurse, but likely due to the demands of childbirth and caring for the children, she had to leave that role and take up work as a school teacher instead. However, this new job was not sustainable, especially with the father no longer present.
She taught in Oklahoma, so clearly she would not have enough money to care for all 3 of us. So effectively, he had forced her hand and made her sign over the rights to her children.
This was how Tyler's father gained complete access to all of his children, but Tyler resisted. He did not want to go with his father. This decision did not end well for him, as it led to financial struggles between Tyler and his mother. So Tyler and his mother struggled financially while staying together, and from that point on, around the age of 11 or 12, Tyler said he had to start working. His first role was as a coach for a youth team.
I do mean actually employed. I was a fully licensed referee for youth soccer from 2012 to 2017, not including all the other volunteer work I did at that club.
Tyler claimed that with his father on the board of the club, he eventually stopped being scheduled, which left him without a job. He also accused his father of misappropriating family assets.
And before the divorce, we were all living on 20 acres of land out in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma.
It was agreed at one point that if the land was ever sold, the money would be split between Tyler's grandmother, who was also living on the land, Tyler's mother, and his father. However, this agreement was never honored and did not materialize as planned.
With the help of his girlfriend at the time, my father decided to sell the land for way under market value just as quickly as possible. And then decided that my grandmother didn't deserve to have any of the money. So my mother was splitting not enough money between her and my grandmother.
Even after all of this, Tyler claimed that the worst part of it all was that his father had started dating someone he never expected he would.
My biological father is dating the mother of my teenage sister's teenage boyfriend. And even with all of the other terrible, awful things that he has done to me and my family, this is the worst.
This particular sister of Tyler has not been in contact with him or their mother for a long time, as Tyler claims that their father had turned her against the rest of the family.
But my sister just turned 18, and if he raised her the way he raised me, just to say totally in debt to him, and so that nothing you ever build for yourself will stand without him there, I want her to have a chance to make something for herself the way that I did.
So Tyler had a traumatic childhood, which may have truly contributed to some mental health issues over the years, something he has not publicly addressed in detail, but it clearly played a role in shaping who he is today. However, this does not excuse his actions in defending Wilbur. This is Wilbur's girlfriend, Shelby, stating that she endured from him over a long period of time and is now speaking out to share her story.
When I hear about physical, I think of so I thought that this wasn't violent enough.
So what kind of was Shelby referring to? According to her, at first she believed it might have been accidental, but looking back on everything that happened, she no longer sees it that way.
And it didn't start as something that he did to hurt me. He had this habit of biting.
But Shelby made it clear in that video that Wilbur had asked her before they got serious if she was comfortable with being bitten, and she initially said yes. However, she later explained that she did not expect it to be as intense or as difficult to endure as it turned out to be.
And I don't specifically remember the actual first time that he bit me too hard by accident because I didn't think that it would be significant.
She also claimed that she did not expect the biting to continue after the first time, but it did, and as it went on, she said it began to take a toll on her, leaving her increasingly distressed and emotionally affected by the experience. What felt odd was the fact that Wilbur was not secretive about the whole biting situation with Shelby. According to her, he would even show the bite marks on her body to his friends, and openly state that he had no intention of stopping.
And when I asked him to stop again, this time he said, "This is who he is. He isn't going to change."
But the issue here is that Wilbur had already made it clear that this was part of who he was from the start of the relationship. Situations like this often lead to a difficult dynamic where one partner hopes the other will change, and that can end up creating a toxic environment over time. This appears to be a for Wilbur, which may explain why he derives satisfaction from behavior that causes discomfort to his partner. A few days after Shelby posted the video on her YouTube channel, Wilbur came forward on his Twitter account to release a statement addressing the allegations. In the statement, he claimed that the biting was something he believed to be playful and not intended to cause harm. However, he also admitted that he may have been somewhat selfish toward the end of the relationship. "I regrettably became slobbish, disrespectful, and selfish. These actions caused a lot of pain to my ex-girlfriend." However, Wilbur claimed that the allegations of it came as a shock to him, stating that he never believed he had done anything out of the ordinary. "The allegation of deeply shocked me. Throughout our relationship, I understood from our numerous conversations and text message exchanges on the subject that this behavior was consensual." He ended the statement by apologizing for any pain he may have caused his ex-girlfriend. But why would Tyler think it was wise to defend such actions at a time when is taken very seriously? The answer begins to take shape when you look back at Tyler's early journey on social media. Before Tyler started creating content on TikTok, he was dealing with serious financial issues due to his mother's condition and his unsupportive father. His last known job before joining TikTok was at a restaurant.
I was a takeaway manager for a restaurant over a year ago, and I was wrongfully terminated because the proprietor told me to do illegal and I didn't?
Tyler claimed that after rejecting the illegal offer, he began having issues with the proprietor, and he was eventually fired.
He couldn't even tell me that I was fired. I had to blow up every phone in that restaurant for hours because he had just taken me off the schedule without a word. And that was in February of last year.
This video was posted in March 2023, so according to Tyler, he was fired in February 2022. His earliest video on TikTok dates back to April 2022. This suggests that after losing his job, he began focusing more heavily on his artwork and building an online presence. This was Tyler's earliest video on TikTok, posted in April 2022. At that time, Tyler appeared to be more focused on promoting his art and selling handmade bead products. But this does not mean Tyler started TikTok around 2022. That was simply the point when he appeared to begin taking it more seriously. In one of his videos, he claimed that he had been using TikTok for years.
The other day, because I'm a new person to when I started this account 3 years ago. Totally different. I don't recommend scrolling back that far.
This video was posted in 2023, so 3 years earlier would place it around 2020 or 2019, which aligns with when he said he started using TikTok. But if that is the case, why does his earliest visible video now date to 2022? Tyler claimed to have an answer for that.
So I go through these phases where I just want to delete a bunch of shit off my social media. And it's always just the really old stuff that doesn't matter and that I'm just sick of looking.
Remember that Tyler said he began testosterone therapy in 2022 as part of his transition to male. So every video he had made before then, when he still presented fully as female, had been removed. This appeared to help preserve the new masculine identity he wanted to present online. He later claimed that he had found a song he once wrote.
But anyway, I did, and I found this, portion of a song that I never finished that I can't find on my phone, but, it's there on TikTok, and I was singing it.
Tyler has repeatedly claimed he was a singer before the car accident. Around that time, Tyler was also being accused of underpricing his work. Many of his fans believed he should have been charging more for his art pieces and handmade bead creations.
I am undercharging for my work, or so they tell me. Let's break it down. Now, I handle all of my sales one-on-one because I'm not a store. I don't want to be a store. I'm just a person who makes cool stuff. But I'm also very much a people person, and so I just like interacting with people.
Tyler said that he found the work enjoyable and was fine with whatever people chose to pay as appreciation for his creations. But in reality, he had not yet built a large customer base at the time, and lower prices were more likely to attract buyers than overly expensive ones.
Keep in mind, I did just raise my prices in January from $35 to $45, and this is usually about 7 hours of work. And considering they are always one of my best sellers, I think they're worth every penny.
But people can be hard to please. On the other side of the debate, another creator criticized him for how expensive one of his artworks was priced.
It was told me that $1,800, $1,800, was way too much to pay for this gorgeous piece of art right here that literally took me a year, and is 4 feet tall.
Tyler's art was fairly decent, and he shared many of his pieces during his early days on TikTok, hoping to attract buyers and generate some income, especially given his financial situation at the time. Tyler spoke more openly during this period, providing a clearer context about his accident and how it affected him to the point where he described it as a disability.
So I have a fun little habit of mixing Benadryl and ibuprofen before bed, because chronic pain and seasonal allergy, but it just doesn't hit like it used to, because it used to make me tired. And now it just makes me think longer.
And no, Tyler was not addicted to these drugs or anything like that. These were pain medications that had been prescribed to him following his accident. Tyler has to some extent grown beyond the trauma of the accident and is able to make jokes about it. At the same time, he reiterated the pain that came with the event and how it affected his posture. One of the main problems he described with his body is a missing rib, which he claims is the primary source of his ongoing pain. According to him, he lost a rib after being hit during the accident.
But I also have chronic pain from the whole missing a rib situation, and binding f***ing hurts.
Tyler was also clear in his account of how the incident happened, even going as far as describing the specific car that he said hit him.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens when you hit a human body with a massive SUV at 50 miles an hour. Weird happens.
Due to the lower view count and the limited attention he received during his early stage, Tyler appeared to come up with a strategy to get more people to buy his art. This was also one of the first times he told his viewers about his intention to leave Texas for the United Kingdom, back in 2022.
So my biggest goal right now is to be able to afford to move out of Texas around the new year, because I hate it here. So of course I'm trying to not bring any extra large canvases into this house because they're going to be hard to move anyway.
This was in November 2022, and he was already planning to leave Texas in 2023. This in turn created a sense of urgency, and likely encouraged his viewers to purchase his art to support him.
So clearly, the only option is for me to say, please commission me. Please commission me for something. Please. Please, 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 please. Please.
Tyler probably made some sales from this call for help, but by January of 2023, he was still in Texas. And by May of 2023, he was back with the same story for his new fans.
TikTok, I need your help, please. My name is Tyler. I'm a transgender, two-spirit, disabled artist, currently stuck, living in Texas, and I don't want to be here anymore.
The year before, the excuse was that he hated Texas and wanted to move. But now, we have Tyler giving a sweeter or more convincing excuse for wanting to move to England.
Luckily, my hard work for the past couple years is finally looking like it's paying off because I have an opportunity to move all the way from Dallas, Texas to f***ing England. And I can't give details yet, but it is kind of my dream job, and it's something I've wanted since I was like 12.
So now, it was no longer just about hating Texas. It had become something bigger, something more emotional, and something easier for his fans to support. A dream job in England. I mean, why wouldn't his fans want to help him achieve his dreams? And that is exactly why he made sure to say this.
But the only thing keeping me from leaving literally tomorrow is that I have to be able to afford to do it.
And for the first time, Tyler was serious about gathering a huge sum of money from his fans without selling anything to them, all in the name of supporting his dream job.
But even with everything I sell and put my heart and soul into, it is still very slow going. So I've been told to make a GoFundMe. here it is, that's me at a market that didn't go well, but hey, I got a good picture out of it.
And when he was asked where exactly he would be moving to in England, Tyler said Bournemouth. In a later post, he also showed interest in going to Bournemouth, which confirms that this could have been his target destination, or simply a destination he chose to attract sales and donations from his fans. And this was the beginning of a GoFundMe page that would last for a long time, all in a bid to leave Texas for England. Over the next couple of weeks, Tyler actively promoted the GoFundMe page on his TikTok.
So I have been losing my mind working and trying to make this GoFundMe happen so that I can finally move and get out of Texas.
By the end of May 2023, Tyler had given his fans a deadline for moving out of Texas. He claimed that he needed to be out before the end of that year, something that in the end never happened.
Listen, I'm moving to England. I've already decided like it's happening, and I have until the end of July to make it happen because I'm not taking no for an answer anymore.
Out of desperation, Tyler came up with another scheme to drive people to buy his stuff and donate to his GoFundMe. This time, he was using a $10 incentive package.
So, if you donate $10 or more to my GoFundMe, you will be automatically entered to win this necklace, the matching bracelet, and the matching earrings, and it'll be great, and it'll be lovely, and I'll love you so much.
So why all this noise about hating Texas? Or was it really about the job in England or his love for the country? Tyler had something to say about this.
Right now, living in Texas for me is extremely dangerous, and there are very real actual threats to my safety all of the time. But luckily for me, I've been working basically nonstop for the past 2.5 years to make this one thing become real, and suddenly it is. Because right now I have an incredible job working with amazing people in England waiting for me.
Is Texas really so unsafe for transgender people that it would warrant this level of hate for the place? Based on online discussions, such as this one on Reddit, Texas is not as accepting as some other states. Another source claimed that Texas has one of the highest rates of violence against transgender people in the United States. Since 2017, there have been 148 reported violent deaths of transgender individuals in the United States. The incidents of fatal transphobic violence in Texas over that time make up nearly 10% of them. This statistic was from almost a decade ago. Presently, I doubt if the situation is still as bad as it was back then, because people seem to be becoming more tolerant with time. But even then, was this a good reason, or was it just another excuse Tyler could use to manipulate his fans for funds? Because from the way Tyler spoke, it seemed like he did not only hate Texas, he seemed to hate the whole of the United States. And in another video, just to promote his GoFundMe page, he admitted that his hatred for the United States had grown over time.
What have you realized you like less and less the older you get?
The United States of America.
Please help me move. I'll love you forever, I promise.
From the caption of the video, Tyler was insinuating that the United States was hell for him, because if Texas was not very accepting, why not move to a closer state that was better instead of going across the world? Even after projecting that he needed to leave by July, Tyler was still in Texas by the end of the year, and as the GoFundMe page wasn't bringing in as much money, a fan made a suggestion, which Tyler agreed to. If all 11,000 followers donated $2 US, he'd have the money to move. Tyler's GoFundMe page was projected to raise around $20,000 for the move, but at that point, he had probably raised only around $300. This frustration was what pushed Tyler to reduce the fundraising goal from $20,000 to $13,000 around July of 2023, and it seemed to work, because after that, the amount he had raised increased to around $1,700.
So the love and support on that video so far is blowing my mind.
And a lot of people are asking some great questions about this.
Even with that, and with his GoFundMe target still not met, Tyler had already concluded by the end of the year that he was not going to make it out of Texas before the end of 2023.
So my timeline's gone all fucking wibbly on me, and I'm trying not to just freak out, but I am kind of floundering a bit, because it's looking like I'm not making it to England by the end of the year.
But when Tyler noticed that the funds were coming in quickly within about 2 months, he increased the GoFundMe target from $13,000 to $14,000 by September of 2023. By that point, he had accumulated more than $2,000. The whole point of this GoFundMe page was to go to England because of a dream job that had supposedly been promised to him more than a year earlier. But the excuse was starting to look shallow as people began asking questions, so Tyler made a video claiming that the job was no longer available.
A couple years ago, I flew halfway around the world to meet an artist named Stuart Semple. Before this visit, during this visit, after this visit, me and Stuart had messaged back and forth quite a few times. I thought he was great. But then, of course, I got back to the States, realized I really didn't want to be there anymore, and I wanted to go back to England.
Tyler never told this story when he first started the GoFundMe campaign to leave the United States for England, which made people think he was just making it up.
And I asked Stuart outright, hey, I need to be out of my current living place by this time. If I can get the funding together, if I can make the move happen, would you hire me? And when he said that we could probably make that happen, I was ecstatic. I was over the moon.
Now, this person was supposedly promising to maybe give Tyler a job, and Tyler went online to create a GoFundMe page and emotionally pressure his followers into buying his art and beads, all based on a possibility. That sounds sketchy.
But it really felt like a yes in the moment. And I knew that if there was even a chance it could happen, I would have to act immediately. I started crowdfunding, I started doing garage sales, I started pushing my art businesses very hard. And my friends over at Culture Hustle were also super excited for me.
Tyler claimed that Stewart, the person who had promised him a job, suddenly stopped replying to him, and at that point Tyler said he knew he was not getting the job. Stuart Semple is a British artist. Whether the accusation was true or not, Stewart has not made any public comment on it. This video was posted in 2025, by the way, years after Tyler had announced the move and created the GoFundMe. So why didn't Tyler talk about it until then? Well, because he was still receiving donations for the imaginary travel, a GoFundMe page that is still active, and the limit has now been increased to $22,000. To this day, it has made more than $16,000 from contributions by fans who may not know any better. And from the history of the page, he is still receiving donations even recently. And guess what? Tyler said it was not his fault, but Stewart's fault for not picking up his calls or replying to his messages.
Every single negative impact this situation has had on my life could have been avoided or minimized if he had just talked to me.
From my end, Stewart not responding to Tyler had no negative impact, but rather a lot of positive impact. Because from 2022 to 2023, and even until now, how could Tyler continue collecting contributions when he knew there was no job waiting for him in England?
Mad at myself for doing so much to protect his reputation when doing so did so much damage to mine. And now that I'm here in the process of trying to move to England again, this time on my own to Brighton instead of Bournemouth.
Now, he is doubling down and still wanting to move to England, despite there being no dream job waiting for him over there. Tyler has also suddenly decided that he wants to move to Brighton, and guess what? Lovejoy, Wilbur's band, is based in that same place. I mean, what a coincidence. Maybe there was no dream job. Maybe art was not really what Tyler wanted to do. Maybe Tyler just wanted to be closer to his crush, Wilbur. Who knows what he was really thinking. Around this time, Tyler also started following Brighton FC, possibly to make the whole thing seem more natural.
My favorite Premier League team is Brighton Hove. They're the Seagulls. They're exactly the kind of skilled, silly seriousness that is my life. I love them, I adore them.
And guess what? Up until around March of 2026, Tyler was still talking about moving to England while continuing to receive money through his GoFundMe page.
Hi, my name is Tyler, and I'm currently in the process of using my beaded jewelry as a means to move all the way from Texas to England. Point.
But everything became worse for this cheerful trans creator around early 2024 when his crush, Wilbur Soot, was accused of assault by his ex-girlfriend, and Tyler claimed it was all false. This was because he had always been a fan of the Lovejoy band.
Lovejoy has finally released the full version of I'll Look Good When I'm Sober, and I am over the moon. Great band, it's a great song, and I've been waiting for so long.
But earlier in 2024, Tyler announced his return to singing after years of pause due to the accident. He said that bead making and art were just distractions from the pain.
But as a lot of you know, I started doing this because I got a car in 2019 and couldn't physically do anything else. It was a much needed distraction from everything I lost, including the only thing I've ever wanted, which was music.
This was a move to set himself up to audition for the Lovejoy band and meet his crush, Wilbur. But without a real audition, Tyler created one himself.
Absolutely no idea if one of my favorite bands might want a second vocalist, but I do know I am crazy enough to ask. So hi, Lovejoy! Do you want a second vocalist? My name is Tyler Salona, I'm 26 years old, I live in Texas, but I'm trying to move to England anyway.
This made it seem like Tyler's whole aim of moving to England, from his first video in 2022 to 2023, had always been to get closer to his favorite band, and that it had nothing to do with his supposed passion for art. Here is his amazing audition song.
A pretty picture, oh so happy, oh so happy. I'm pretty cool once you get to know me.
Well, that did not sound right to me at all. Maybe he might have had a shot at being laughed at by the Lovejoy band. Tyler claimed that he first found out about Wilbur in 2019.
I have had a crush on Will Gold since 2019, when I heard him laugh in the background of someone else's video, and it felt like life itself leaned in to listen.
In the video, Tyler claimed that he was not sure whether Wilbur was gay or not. Wilbur was born male. He has never publicly claimed to be trans, bi, or gay, and he also had a girlfriend. All of those points to someone who is straight. But somewhere along the line, Tyler eventually Wilbur. The first video Tyler posted in support of Wilbur Soot was in June of 2024. This video still had sound when I started writing this script a few days ago, but apparently either TikTok or Tyler himself has muted the video. One of the major reasons TikTok mutes a video is if it contains copyrighted music, but this video did not have any copyrighted music in it, and probably some sensitive topics involving harm or illegal activities, none of which were talked about in the video. How or why the video got muted is still uncertain, but the context of the video was something Tyler reiterated in other videos. It was basically that Wilbur was not guilty of the allegations, even after Wilbur had admitted to them and apologized.
The video this comment is on is about how I do not think that Wilbur Soot is an and it took a lot for me to post it. I had to think a lot about how to say what I wanted to say, and I was really worried that it would be taken the wrong way.
On a larger scale, the video was received exactly the way it should have been received. Tyler claimed that the responses were generally positive, but recently, he has blocked comments on his page because of negative comments. The first video got Tyler a lot of backlash, and he eventually moved his argument from Wilbur being completely innocent to Wilbur made a mistake.
Because how long are we as people going to sit in this place where we treat every mistake as if it makes us irredeemable? And sure, people should face consequences for their actions, but if those consequences are not put in place as a lesson to be better and learn from those actions in the future, then those aren't consequences, those are punishment. And no one learns from punishment.
So basically, Tyler was saying that those who make the mistake of victims should be left alone because punishment does not make them better, which most viewers disagreed with. Tyler said that people should let Wilbur be because he believed Wilbur would change.
But the most important part of that puzzle is that you have to let people change. You have to acknowledge the ability to change. You have to acknowledge the change in itself. Are they really incapable of changing, or are you just not letting them? Have they really never changed, or are you just not acknowledging that they already have? Because if you're going to call someone out for their behavior, you have to be willing to let them change the behavior.
With the nonsense Tyler said on the internet, he was surprised that people got upset by it. And now, in another more recent video, he is claiming that other creators are sending haters after him.
I'm talking about how many people are training their audiences to be internet attack dogs, which is not cool. And right now, it's really hard to be on the internet. Feels like every other day we're getting someone who's secretly a terrible person.
Tyler went on to claim that there are two types of haters, one that is severe, and another that is more like a lesser evil.
The first question's a little gray, but it has to do with intention. Did they knowingly hurt you on purpose? And if you know for a fact that they did it on purpose, then yeah, that person sucks, they're an But if you can't be sure they knew they were hurting you, you have to ask yourself another question. This one's a two-parter. One, did you tell them it hurt you? Because if you didn't, I'm sorry, you have to. You can't assume they know unless you tell them. But after you tell them, you have to ask, how did they respond to you telling them? Did they get angry? Did they blame you? Did they hurt you more? Did they try to shut you up somehow? Then yeah, unfortunately, probably an Or did they find out that they hurt you and apologize? Did they validate your feelings? Did they promise to change? Did they make genuine efforts to better themselves towards you and people around them? Because in that case, they're probably just someone who f***ed up.
This statement about apology was intentionally said because of the statement Wilbur Soot released, which included an apology to his ex-girlfriend. Tyler was basically saying, if he is sorry and has apologized, why are you all still complaining? Even though Tyler himself had once claimed to be a too.
Chance to be forgiven. And with all the time and energy we spend hoping people in our lives will change, you cannot hope for that without allowing them to change when they realize they f***ed up.
The crazy thing about this is that since 2024, when Tyler made his first 6-minute defense video for Wilbur, he has remained adamant and stubborn, refusing to change his main opinion or apologize.
So I've been getting a lot of comments and DMs asking if I still support Will, which the answer is yes. Here I am, almost a year later, same opinion, just a little bit more annoyed.
After a while, the trolling and negative comments directed at Tyler became more intense, with threats and strong messages being sent to his DMs in hopes of intimidating him. People did not really need to know Tyler's past to understand what he said about a present event. And in this video, Tyler made a new shift by claiming that it was all for entertainment.
So whether you're here about a video about a crush that I exaggerated for entertainment purposes, or from a 2-year-old video where I encourage people to think for themselves and consider that there's a lot of information they don't know.
So now, it was all about exaggeration and entertainment. Was Tyler trying to say that everything he said regarding the Wilbur matter was just for show and should not be taken seriously? Tyler said this quite a few times, probably so that people would stop coming for him.
I said I have a crush on a guy in a band who I do not know and have met once. And because I was not strictly literal in a video that was for entertainment,
Tyler was just being difficult. It would have been easier if he had left the entertainment angle alone and focused more on apologizing to Wilbur's ex-girlfriend for his statements, as well as to everyone who watched and was disturbed by his dismissal of a serious matter. Instead, he went on to call the people's reactions ridiculous.
I have somehow become the target of a weeks-long ridiculous smear campaign that, frankly, I don't want to understand.
You can't call people's frustration over what you said ridiculous and expect it to die down all of a sudden. This video was made in April of 2026, by the way. As the campaign against him increased, Tyler started deleting some videos. He also started making videos similar to the earlier ones to ease the tension. But unfortunately, it wasn't working. Some of the harassment messages he received, which I am not in support of, were these. This one started by calling Tyler girl, knowing fully well that he had transitioned.
But the crazy thing is I can't even tell what you're mad about. Are you mad that I'm trans? Are you mad that I'm a boy who wears jewelry and makeup?
An even worse threat came to Tyler's DM, but this time, they were targeting both Tyler and his mother. Someone else came forward to accuse Tyler of not being who he says he is, attacking his sexuality and using different pronouns to address him. It's really sad that Tyler felt this type of message was a good way to promote his disturbing crowdfunding campaign to leave Texas, something he had been crying about for years. One of the most critical platforms for Tyler was Twitter, and he hated it for this reason.
There's one thing I've learned about making a living on the internet is that Twitter doesn't fucking matter. Why would you want to give a what a bunch of miserable Elon think about you? And I've had several people over the past week or so asking me if I know what Twitter is saying about me.
And that is where Tyler Catastrophe's story leaves us. What began as a story of pain, trauma, disability, and wanting a better life slowly turned into something much darker.
The only thing that makes you trans is you! If you say that you are trans, then you 100% are trans. Why did you turn your comments off? I'm glad you asked.
When content creators use high energy to teach people about identity, it usually comes from a desire to build bridges. But for Malfanos, known online as Fuzz99, shouting at the camera, stomping around, and acting like an erratic cartoon character was how he hoped to become an internet sensation.
It's finally time! Spooky, spooky haircut. Spooky, spooky haircut. Spooky, spooky haircut. Spooky, spooky haircut.
That was the video of a 30-year-old, by the way. 2 years ago, he talked about how he came by the name Fuzz, relating a story from his 4th grade.
So I wanted a cool username too. And my little 10-year-old brain thought of Fuzz. And then when I was in 8th grade in social studies class, super bored out of my mind, the teacher put a movie on, super boring. Instead of paying attention and watching the movie, I took out my notebook and started drawing. And that's when I drew my first ever picture of Fuzz.
Fuzz99 built a massive TikTok following under the guise of queer education, but his aggressive and somewhat childlike performance style did not bring people together. It actively segregated them. Instead of helping the LGBTQ+ community, his behavior was heavily criticized for pushing queer acceptance back decades by turning identity into an annoying, hostile caricature. Beyond that, he became embroiled in dark allegations after his behavior toward minors came under a microscope. Eventually, he would get fired from his job, not because of some haters, as he would have people believe, but because he crossed major professional boundaries. It is therefore safe to say that the constant desperation to act in a certain kind of way cost him what would have otherwise been a stable job. So this video will explore the life of a content creator who trapped himself in a desperate cycle of performance addiction. Before you can understand what went wrong, you have to understand what you are actually looking at when a Fuzz99 video appears on your screen, because the content itself is the key to understanding everything else that follows.
Asking my family what their pronouns are. This is gonna be a race. Wish me luck.
What are your pronouns?
What the fuck is a pronoun?
Great! Yo, what are your pronouns?
Huh?
What are your pronouns?
What are my pronouns?
Yeah, what's your pronouns?
I'm a guy, so he.
Okay. Yo, what are your pronouns?
What?
What are your pronouns?
Who?
Great answer.
Where?
Awesome. Hey, what are your pronouns?
Mom.
Okay, great. What are your pronouns?
His, her,
Good answer.
Fuzz99's content is defined by a performance style that is so loud and so physically aggressive that people who encounter it for the first time genuinely cannot believe it is real. Every single video starts with him stomping his foot hard enough to shake the camera, throwing his arms in the air like he is at a concert, and then getting so close to the lens. For some, this is purely performative.
Why do I call myself gay if my pronouns are he, they, and I'm dating a girl? Well,
He frequently yells at the camera, stomps his feet, and adopts childish mannerisms throughout the video. Many people find this annoying.
Wanna be in my next YouTube video? Then ask a question. Me and my queer friends are answering every question that you guys ask in the comments. So ask any queer questions that you might want to know the answer to. We got trans, gay, queer, lesbian, so ask any question that you have. And don't ask a question about my appearance. That's a waste of a question. We got all kinds of queer friends joining us, and it's not just me, okay? Ask silly, goofy questions. So, what's everybody's favorite animal? Ask serious questions. How did all of you come out to your parents? Ask whatever your heart desires. Just don't be rude, bro. If somebody asks the same question as somebody else, though, we will only be answering the person who asked first. So just keep that in mind. Ask away. Yup. Just ask away. I'm nervous.
It is therefore not surprising that you typically find that in comment sections, in stitches, and in reaction videos, people consistently describe watching Fuzz99 content as a physical experience that leaves them somewhere between irritated and genuinely distressed. Generally, his content covers genuinely useful LGBTQ plus topics. However, people do not find his videos irritating because of the LGBTQ content. He typically explains the sexuality spectrum. For example, he explains what omnisexual means, breaks down the difference between gender and pronouns, teaches people about pride flags, and covers queer history dating back centuries. On paper, what he is doing should be valuable.
What's omnisexual? And why the heck does their flag look like this? Well, people who identify as omnisexual fall under the bi umbrella, which means they share a lot of similarities with other.
However, there are some problems, typically because some of his videos might be overly sexual, just like when he was talking about what top and bottom mean. You would expect that they are not appropriate for kids.
Guessing your sexuality or gender based off your favorite Mario Kart character. Ah! I have never seen anyone in the LGBTQ community use Mario before, so if Mario's your favorite Mario Kart character, you're straight! If your favorite Mario Kart character is Luigi, you're fruity. I'm sorry, but you're fruity. If Peach is your fave, you're either straight, a femme gay, or just gay. Either way, you're a badass hoe. Oh! Yoshi! If Yoshi is your favorite, you give me Pan vibes. You're Pan. Shy guy! You're not binary! Hey! Hey! I love this homie. If you use dry bones, you're a trans man. The perfect man's. I get major bi vibes here. You use Inkling Boy? The best character! You're either gender fluid or gay.
But he fails in this aspect. He does not categorically state that his videos are unsuitable for kids, and sometimes he even targets younger audiences. Just like this video where he acts like a counselor in a setting that looks like a children's camp, making it look like it was created for kids.
Hey homie! Welcome to your second day of camp, baby! Woo! Alright, let's see. Do you remember your magic bracelet number? Let's see. You were a little close. Your bracelet number 101, baby. Don't forget it. Alright, here, ready? Catch it. Ready? Hey! You did it! Alright, so yesterday I talked about our Summer Olympics and how we're going to be competing against other teams at different Olympic Games during the summer, and whoever gets the most points wins the competition. Hey! So our team color this year is rainbow, and the team talked, I looked in the comments, and we all agreed that we want to be the Rainbow Fuzzballs. So we got to design our flag, so start thinking about what y'all want to do. A big fuzzball, a little fuzzball, lightning bolts.
The other problem is that the delivery drowns out the message completely. There is so much noise, so many stomps, so many arm throws, so many close-up moments where his face fills the entire screen that by the time he gets to the actual information, most viewers have already either tuned out or been driven off entirely.
Let's talk about queer!
But, Bo, what is, queer?
I'm glad you asked!
Although it is important to acknowledge the fact that people can always offer a unique way to educate others on a subject, Fuzz's antics make it difficult for anyone to pay attention. Beyond these two major problems, he has also developed a habit of explaining the same concepts over and over again across different videos, each repackaged with a different haircut or outfit. Basically, he has no real content. He has explained what omnisexual means at least 20 times. He has covered pansexual versus bisexual enough times that people have started counting. The repetition is so consistent that it has become its own form of comedy for people who watch him.
Genders. But, unlike pansexuals, omnisexuals actually do have a preference for a gender.
Does this mean that they can be attracted to everybody?
Heck yeah! But they just might have a preference for who they want to be in a relationship with. And again, not every omnisexual is the same as all the other omnisexuals.
We're all different fluid individuals.
And we love our omnisexual.
And then there are the haircut videos, which quite frankly you'd think are out of range for who he portrays himself to be, but he somehow managed to find a connection with his content style. Fuzz calls his haircuts gender adventures, and that was how spooky haircuts became a thing.
It's time. Spooky haircut. Spooky.
Every year he makes the same videos all about his spooky haircuts.
It's finally time! Spooky.
But maybe he does all of these for the money. He used to have his Venmo and Cash App on there, which can only mean one thing. He is actively soliciting donations. But then he needed the funds. He was living with his parents and made content from his childhood bedroom. But since he has a fan base that are called Fuzzballs, a name he gave them and treats as though it carries genuine meaning and community weight, he decided he might as well take advantage of that. He celebrates their birthdays. He thanks them for their support in videos that always soon switched into screaming.
And chaotic and loving family.
But the whole idea of Fuzzball being a loving and caring family soon vanished after he locked his comments. How much of a loving and supportive family are they if he had to turn off the comments? That remains to be seen. But we will look more into the details of this deep into the video. Somewhere in here, buried under years of foot stomps and close-up shots and repeated explainers about pansexuality, there is a person who clearly started out wanting to do something meaningful. His information is accurate. His passion for the subject matter is real. When he talks about LGBTQ plus history or explains why certain identities matter to people who have never felt seen, you can hear how genuine he is if you look beyond the screaming and shouting. But that does not matter because the presentation makes it impossible for that sincerity to land. You cannot educate someone who has already slammed the back button. But there was another problem. A big problem which he hadn't realized, but one that cost him the backing of the LGBTQ community. There's a version of what Fuzz was doing that could have worked. A loud, expressive, unapologetically queer creator making educational content for people who wanted to understand LGBTQ plus identity. That version of the channel could have been valuable, but that is not what actually happened. What actually happened is that Fuzz99 frequently alienated a broader audience by displaying open hostility towards straight and cisgender people in his content, turning what should have been an educational platform into something that read more like an US versus them broadcast. In one video, he directly addressed the question of whether being straight was desirable, and his answer was, it's like blah, cause like nobody wants to be straight.
It's like blah, cause like nobody wants to be straight.
Yeah.
He said this while claiming in other videos that his platform was built on acceptance and inclusivity, which gave his critics all the contradiction they needed. In another video, he fueled hate and violence against people. He said directly that given the violence the queer community has faced from straight and cisgender people, it makes total sense why there's a lot of hate toward them as a group.
Because we are all humans, but I'm glad you asked. From my perspective, it makes a lot of sense why there's a lot of hate on straight cis people. Growing up for me, there was no representation of the LGBTQ community anywhere. We had Ellen, but as a kid, I can't really relate to Ellen. So when I grew up and realized I was a part of the LGBTQ community, I was kind of upset we didn't have a lot of representation in media. And then when I learned about a lot of leaders that came before us in the community, and people who are our age and a part of our community, who were all killed and are killed every day from cis straight people who don't understand us and have a hate so strong against us because of who we are as people, it makes a lot of sense why people in our community don't like straight cis people.
He basically framed broad resentment toward all straight people as a reasonable response to the actions of a few guys. That's not all. He also said in one video that his content was for the gays, not the straights, after someone called him out on his discriminatory content, making his claims of being an inclusive educator difficult to take seriously. You cannot hold an open classroom with a sign on the door that says certain students are not welcome.
My content is for the gays, not the straights.
The queer community noticed this too, and this is where something unusual happened that most internet dramas do not produce. The backlash against Fuzz99 was not primarily driven by conservatives or homophobes, even though that is the narrative he has pushed. It was driven in large part by queer people themselves.
Queer teachers are under attack and are constantly being targeted and kicked out of the classrooms for being who they are and for helping students feel welcomed for who they are.
In October 2022, a Twitter user posted a clip of Fuzz saying nobody wants to be straight with the caption, "This is top 2 worst TikTok accounts and it ain't number 2. This reaction to his video was met with utter embarrassment. Comments in the thread said things like, "I do not claim this." People who identified as gay, trans, or non-binary made videos explaining that this was not the kind of representation they wanted. One of the comments on the X post categorically stated that it was a poor representation of the community. I don't really care about them as a person. I care more about how people scapegoat this person to make us all look bad as an entire community, because this one person annoys them a little. It's frustrating that people like this person get in the scope of so many who push hate. The criticisms were not from conservatives, but from members of the LGBTQ community themselves. The criticism was consistent. By reducing LGBTQ plus advocacy to a loud, erratic, and childlike display, Fuzz's content treated queer identity like a joke, giving homophobes easy ammunition to mock the entire community. They were right. His content was polarizing to a large extent. Videos like "Eating all my homophobic neighbors" and "The Queer Olympics" use loud, edgy, and high-intensity presentation to farm cheap engagement from a deeply divided comment section.
Too many people running around. Oh, I can put the glasses back on. I can't drop my clothes again though. Grandma Maud, you're already so old. Like, you've lived a long life, okay? You're really sweet. I'm a Miss Johnson for you, though. If me and Miss Johnson hit it off and she becomes my wife, I'd be okay with that. All right. Well, actually, I think she's married. I think it was MRS. You remind me of my ex.
Then you begin to wonder what even is the point of that video. What does it achieve? The comment section of her video titled "My Real Life Ghost Story" is even more damning. One of the commenters says, "If I was a ghost, I would have haunt you for life." One thing remains certain: the aggressive delivery guarantees that anyone genuinely looking to learn is immediately driven away, leaving only an audience of pure hate watchers, reinforcing why the LGBTQ community rejected his style of content in the first place. TikTok gays. B, like we bullied a queer creator off the platform because we thought they were annoying, and then something happened that turned the audience's segregation problem into something genuinely serious, something that moved from the comment section into the real world to the extent that it cost him his job. The reason for the backlash Fuzz faced was simple. His content looks more targeted at kids than at adult viewers, because really no adult is watching this.
Years ago, when I was just 13 years old, celebrating another wonderful summer vacation during middle school, me and my best friend wanted to have a sleepover. But of course, because I wanted to have a sleepover with my friends, my 2 younger brothers wanted to have sleepovers with their friends too. Ugh. Thus, the tale of the haunted ghost sleepover begins.
One of the commenters expressed the same sentiments. Gonna be honest, at 28, just stop, right? No one our age is gonna watch this and be like, wow, this is funny, I'm serious, you're just trying to entertain kids. I don't know who else would enjoy this. So it was not surprising that in 2022, serious allegations began circulating that Fuzz99 had been having inappropriate contact with minors. However, these allegations were never proven. No victim ever came forward publicly with documented evidence. No charges were ever filed, and no legal action was ever taken against him. While I get your point, why do they, a 26-year-old, want an audience of children? They even said that at their full-grown age, their best friend is still at his high school. It's weird. But people could not help but look at his videos and be scared for their children. So the allegations spread fast and stuck hard, partly because of the timing, partly because of the style of the content, and partly because of something nobody had fully considered until the accusations started flying: the nature of his job. The issue is not just that people thought his content was inappropriate for kids. It was that many people looked at how he presented himself, the childlike mannerisms, the cartoon energy, the finger guns, the clapping games, and bouncing, and came to the uncomfortable conclusion that this content was not just reaching children accidentally. It looked like it was designed for them.
lot of people have been asking me this, and I'm not sure that everyone's gonna like my answer, but if your oobies make you uncomfortable at any age, 10, 11, 12, 64, you can try to bind. However, if you are young and you're just starting to go through puberty or you're already going through puberty, say it with me now. Your body is still growing. So if you get a binder and you want to try it and then you don't like it, that's fine. But if you do get your binder and you're like, well, I love this, and you need to be cautious that your body is still growing and you may need to size your binder up if it starts to hurt. And if you start to bind all the time, you gotta tell your doctor so they know to keep an eye out on you.
One of the more damning critiques came from a commentary creator who pointed out that the overall behavior, speech patterns, mannerisms, and aesthetics of his videos were exactly what a 4-year-old would be watching on something like Blue's Clues or Blippi.
Behavior, the speech, the mannerisms, the aesthetics of these videos are that of what my 4-year-old son would be watching in terms of Blue's Clues or Blippi. Which begs the question of why? Why? Why are you trying to reach an audience of that age and that maturity? And in doing so, talking about the things you are talking.
The question then became why someone covering topics related to gender identity and attraction would choose to present them in the same visual and audio language as children's programming. Just like the time he guessed people's sexuality based on their favorite Mario Kart character. That was a red flag. But then something else added to the red flags, making Fuzz 99 a no-go area for people. While screaming off the internet in this childlike manner, Fuzz 99 also maintained a day job as a substitute school teacher. He worked in the Worcester Public Schools district in Massachusetts, bouncing between high schools as a substitute from around 2021 to early 2023. He talked about it constantly on TikTok. He posted videos about going back to school and shared stories about interactions with his students.
Always, and at the end of the day at school, like, I can't even tell you how many high fives I got, how many vaps I got, and like there is truly
Before that, in the summers of 2020 and 2021, he worked as a camp counselor at youth camps for kids, aged 12 to 18.
Alright, so like I don't mean to brag, but okay, so like I went to camp every single summer, every year until I could become a camp counselor in training, and then yes, I did become a camp counselor. So 16 to 24, I don't know how many years that is. I can't do math. I'm unfortunately gay. Ooh. I am on a plaque in my town hall though, so like that's kind of cool. My name is literally in the town hall because I was the best at what I do. And then I literally just have a whole drawer filled with camp shirts. This one's one of my faves. All my kids signed it in washable marker and then it washed away in the wash. But like, that's okay. It's still my favorite shirt. Whew. The camp stories I could tell on here. Whew. Definitely gonna have to tell some soon.
The language he used when talking about his students was what started to unsettle people. In 2021 and 2022, he began posting videos using the phrase, "my gay kids." In one video he said, "I had a bunch of my gay kids that I had last year in the class, and the way their faces lit up when they saw me this morning made me feel so good."
Guess who had their first day back 7 at school today? I did. So right off the bat, for first period, I had a bunch of my gay kids that I had last year in the class. And the way their faces lit up when they saw me this morning, y'all, it made me feel so good and reminded me why I love to do what I do. And like all day, just seeing everyone throughout the day just made me so happy. Overall, I miss my kids and I'm so happy to be back.
This made people start to question what he was really teaching the kids in class. Were they all just sitting around talking about sexuality when they should be receiving an education? Because of this, people felt he had no business being in school, let alone teaching kids. Bro shouldn't be able to work with kids, to say the least. He constantly mentioned his substitute teaching on TikTok. His students found his TikTok, which he also mentioned on TikTok. Problems arose when he completely failed to separate his real-world authority over minors from his hyperactive online creator persona, which is why people felt apprehensive about the fact that he never really clarified his target demographics. I feel like they didn't have a set demographic, which is what also played a role in their downfall. Some videos seemed like they were geared toward a younger, childlike audience. For example, the skit about the claw machine. Then they would post videos about sexuality, which would cater to teens and young adults. Then they would make videos discussing their position during top, bottom, and dating, which is obviously not for the younger audience. They didn't stick to one demographic, so people realized their audience of young kids was watching videos about sex and sexuality. Maybe not everyone thought this and forced them all off the internet just because they were annoying, but I 110% understand if there was a deeper concern about this person's content. The turning point in his teaching career came when he began violating strict classroom boundaries by using his actual students as background elements or as inspiration for his content. He let the art club students paint his face and then posted about it online, which the school flagged as inappropriate. There was also an incident during his time as a camp counselor in which he shared a video of a conversation he had with a young camper about gender identity. The content of the conversation was presented warmly, but the problem with that was that he had basically violated the kid's trust in privacy. Their story was not supposed to be content. That was something he never quite figured out.
I was sitting with one of my campers in the art room today drawing pictures, and there was a moment when it was just me and them at the table, and they were like, Mom, are you a boy or a girl? Oh, I'm neither. I'm just me. Huh. Just me? I kinda like that. I think I'm just me too. Sometimes I just like to wear boys' clothes and not girls' clothes. That's cool. I love that. Really? Oh, of course. I love that.
It was easy to see why some parents would be scared to have their children around her, as some might see this as a way to them. Moreover, this completely compromised the safety, privacy, and professional environment that a school and a camp require of their employees. People simply could not let go of all of these, and the dots were connecting in real time. And the fact that they are a substitute teacher and talking about being top and bottom in one video, and then talking about their gay kids, their words not mine, in the next video, while the allegations never produced any evidence, what people were pointing to was a pattern of behavior and content choices that, taken together, looked extremely bad even without any single act of wrongdoing.
I completely forgot about my homophobic gym teacher that I had in high school until me and my...
When the school district eventually fired him for what they are described as conduct violations and boundary issues, Fuzz took to social media to control the narrative. In a 20-minute YouTube video titled "The Truth, A Hater Got Me Fired," he attempted to frame his termination as an act of discrimination against his identity, completely deflecting from the reality of his own unprofessional conduct.
I was recently hate crimed for being queer. And as a result of me being hate crimed for being queer, it ultimately led to me being fired from my job as a high school substitute teacher. I hate making content like this. I love making people laugh and smile and forget about all their troubles. I love helping people feel comfortable in their bodies and always preach that there's nothing ever wrong with being you, and that you should always identify and do the things that make you happy and feel most like you.
According to the account he gave in that video, a hater on the internet had dug through thousands of his old 2020 videos, found thirst trap content he had posted before he was even a teacher, and emailed screenshots of those videos to his school's HR department. He described this as a hate crime.
Complaining and wanting you fired. Knowing the haters too, they probably also threatened the school in some way too. Wow, I can't believe this. Yeah, that person went through thousands upon thousands of my videos to find these. In my first 2 years alone, I was putting out 2 to 3 videos every single day of the week, and even on holidays. Those videos are buried. They aren't active videos, they are not being pushed by the algorithm. They are dead. I highly doubt a parent here or student here would have gone through and watched.
What the video glossed over was the fact that, according to the investigation, which included leaked details from HR meetings, the school had actually warned him a full year before the firing about his online presence. Freshmen had been writing his TikTok username on classroom whiteboards. The school had specifically told him that what he posted online represented the school. He had been flagged for the art club face painting post. Hence, the old videos were not the reason he was fired. They were the final piece of a file that had been in the making for over a year. He was not fired for being queer. He was fired for repeatedly failing to maintain the separation between his influencer life and his role role as an educator. But Fuzz99 never corrected the record. He kept pushing the hate crime narrative, claimed the decision was made by white cisgender men who did not understand him, and presented himself as a martyr for queer teachers everywhere.
However, knowing the decision was up to the superintendent, who is a white cis older male and who I've never met and has no idea who I am or what I look like, and the principal, who is also a white cis male who gave me the vibes that they were not the biggest fan of me and never really knew how to interact with me because of who I am, made me feel like the chances of me not getting fired were very low. A few days after the meeting, however, my art teachers all reached out.
That was when a lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community started pulling away, because weaponizing your identity to dodge accountability does not just hurt you. It makes it harder for people who actually face discrimination to be believed when they speak up. Whenever public scrutiny or professional consequences caught up with Fuzz99, his content shifted dramatically. The foot stomps slowed down, the catchphrase disappeared, the screaming was replaced with something that looked a lot like a performance of vulnerability.
A bro that likes. Hey, me too, bro. You really think that's what that means? Alright, fine. What is it? We do this every time. I'm glad you asked.
People who identify as abrosexual are fluid with their sexualities.
What?
Like gender fluid, abrosexual friends one day might feel pan, but then the next day they might feel asexual. And a week later they could just be gay. Their sexualities are fluid.
Does this mean they're fluid with all the sexualities?
Some. Every abrosexual is different.
And we love our abrosexual friends!
He relies heavily on what people in his comment sections started calling crying videos, emotionally charged updates about severe mental breakdowns, difficult personal moments, and the weight of being hated online. These would appear right when the criticism was loudest and the audience was most skeptical, effectively shifting the viewer's role from critic to sympathizer. Other times, he would try to give a calm, philosophical explanation of what was going on. In 2022, when the allegations were at their most intense, Fuzz completely shut down his comment sections and temporarily vanished from the platform without explanation. No statement, no clarification, no receipts, just silence. The silence was so loud that some content creators on TikTok had to start making videos asking about him. Later, he came back with a video explaining that he had been advised by police to step back from TikTok. He said there had been a serious incident with a hater. He provided no details.
I really hate to come on here to make this video, and I really don't want to, because I know that a lot of you out there still really enjoy and like my videos, and they make your day and they make you smile, and that's all I've ever wanted in life. Unfortunately, this morning I had a really bad incident with a hater and had to get the police involved. A lot of people in my life know my current situation right now, and I wish I could talk about it more, but I don't want to and can't really get into it. But I currently am being advised by the police to take a step back from TikTok. I have to take a break for a little while until a lot of this hate calms down. It might be a week, it might be a month, it might be a year, it might be forever. I truly don't know how long of a break that I'm going to take or have to take. Before I go though, I did want to talk about two major assumptions that the haters are making about me and just clarify things, because I just want to clarify, because I was gonna make a video this week to talk about it, but obviously I have to leave now. So, real quick. One, I've never once said that my content is for kids or that my intent has been to make content for kids. Most people don't know this, but you have to be at least 13 years old to even make or have a TikTok account. And TikTok makes your account private until you're at least the age of 16. If a kid does find my TikToks, that is out of my control. From that point on, it's on the parents' duty to be in charge of monitoring what their kids are watching and doing. I make my content to be family friendly and wholesome because that's who I am, and I want to be inclusive to everyone out there. And I want people to know that this is a safe place where they can ask any question they want and they won't get judged. Secondly, I never said I hate straight people. I literally said, like, who would want to be straight? Blech. And like, I literally do not know how to stress this enough. My content is for the gays, not the straights. And as a gay person who grew up thinking they had to be straight, who never saw 1 ounce of any kind of LGBTQ representation in any media, who hated themselves when they realized they were gay, and wished and prayed that they weren't, and then almost took their
Yeeted
fucking
themselves.
life, and then after a long time eventually learned and accepted that it was okay to be gay and that you can love who you want to love. Yeah, I would never want to go back to being straight or ever be straight. And a lot of gay people who I make these videos for and who have gone through the same exact things feel the exact same fucking way. So I'm sorry to all the straight people who I offended, but y'all need to realize that the straights have not been kind to us. And I would not give up loving the person I love for anything in this world.
The announcement said it might be a week, a month, a year, or forever. It was delivered in a completely different register from his usual content, a soft, subdued, somber voice that most of his viewers had never seen before. But then he was back way sooner. When he eventually came back and fans asked why he had locked down communication, he said it was not because of the hate or the pressure. He instead made it seem like a strategic decision, saying he had bigger plans in motion.
Hi.
Why did you turn your comments off?
Oh, well... glad you asked. So, first, I would like to say that, no! It is not because I got too much hate and couldn't handle it. I promise, I am okay. But I do appreciate all of the people that sent me kind words and lovely DMs because it means more to me than y'all will ever know. And I truly love y'all, like, so much, like, for real. But I turned comments off because there's a bigger plan already in motion, baby, that only I know about. So stay tuned, baby.
He then posted a video with the caption, "Don't get me wrong, the hate hasn't slowed down at all and it's still quiet. A lot for me, most days. However, I promise I am going to fix this for us and bring back our safe space, so please stay strong for a little while. My amazing fuzzballs, I love y'all so much." No one ever found out what the plan was because there was no plan. That answer was designed to make people feel like he was in control of a situation and he clearly was not, and to reframe his retreat as a strategic move rather than what it looked like. When his TikTok account was eventually banned, he posted about it on Instagram stories, framing the ban as the work of organized homophobes mass reporting him. He used this narrative even as he said in the same story that TikTok had never given him a reason for the ban. He was simultaneously certain of why it happened and acknowledged that he had no information about it.
Harassed every day by thousands of hateful people.
He threatened to pursue legal action against TikTok for wrongful termination. Multiple commenters pointed out that signing up for TikTok meant agreeing to terms that allowed TikTok to ban any account at any time without providing a reason. None of that information changed the narrative he was presenting. The consistent pattern across all of these moments is that Fuzz99 is never wrong, never at fault, and never responsible for what happens to him. Every consequence has an external cause. Every criticism comes from hatred. Every ban is a conspiracy. Every firing is discrimination. The accountability never lands. And the queer community that he claimed to represent has noticed this more than anyone, because the consequence of someone constantly playing the victim of anti-queer discrimination without evidence is that the people who face actual anti-queer discrimination become slightly harder to believe. Fuzz99 is currently trapped in a classic performance addiction loop, and watching it play out in real time is a genuinely uncomfortable experience.
It's time! Jolly haircut, jolly haircut, jolly haircut time. No, we're not gonna get a spooky haircut, cause it's Christmas time. Hey, jolly haircut, jolly haircut, jolly haircut time. Let's go.
He continues to post from the same childhood bedroom in Massachusetts, surrounded by the same rainbow posters and the same cluttered desk, doing the same double foot stomp, and the same "I'm glad you asked" opening he has used since 2020. Nothing has changed. Not the delivery, not the topics, not the energy level, not the distance from the camera.
It's finally time! Spooky, spooky haircut. Spooky, spooky haircut. Spooky, spooky haircut. Spooky, spooky haircut.
He has around 453,000 followers on TikTok, which sounds significant until you look at what those numbers actually represent. After his comeback from his hiatus, his page was never the same. Now, he went from consistently having millions of views on a video to barely scratching 50,000, and then his likes have dropped drastically. Most of the time, his videos struggle to get 1,000 likes. Basically, his loving and caring fuzzball are all gone, and most of what is left of his followers are people who watch his content just to have a laugh at him. The comments on his recent videos are not from fans. They are from people asking why he is still on the platform, or who just have negative comments about whatever he was doing. Dude, stay TF away from all kids. I can't believe they let you in a classroom. Video reported for promoting violence. The irony he seems completely unable to recognize is that his most viewed TikTok, the one that earned him nearly 10 million views, was the comments off video where he showed up unannounced to announce he was turning his comments off. That video was watched by millions of people specifically because it was a new and interesting kind of disaster for them to observe. Clearly was not watched by his beloved fuzzballs. His seasonal content, videos centered around what he calls spooky aesthetics, his jolly haircut videos, and his themed gender adventures have completely worn thin as a gimmick. The first time someone watches a Fuzz99 spooky haircut video, it is unusual enough to hold attention. By the 50th spooky haircut video, it is just evidence of someone who ran out of ideas in 2021 and has been recycling the same 3 concepts ever since.
Spooky, spooky haircut. Spooky, spooky haircut. Spooky, spooky haircut. Spooky, spooky haircut. Boo! I will always love doing that. I don't know if your barber does house calls, but mine does.
Uber haircut for Mac?
Oh, hell yeah, let's go! And we wouldn't be having our spooky haircut this year without him. So thank you, Danny. I love you, bro. And he's here? I have no idea what Danny designed in my head. So without further ado, let's check it out. Ooh, spooky. Ooh, spooky. Oh, do I look good, baby? Bro, that pumpkin, dude. Show him again. Oh, yo, that looks sick as fuck, dude. That looks sick, yo.
That's what I was saying.
Bro, I look sick, bro. Let's get it. Happy spooky season! Woo! Yeah.
His YouTube channel, where he posts longer content, is even quieter. Videos on it have low view count-ins and comment sections that are either turned off entirely or full of the same hate that drives his TikTok numbers. In 2025, he announced a name change. He had been going by Maul for several years, which he said was a nickname derived from his original name. His new name is Mac.
Is there a difference between trans men and trans mask people? Hey, what up? I'm Mac. I'm trans mask, and
The most devastating aspect of his current situation is his complete isolation from the community he spent 6 years trying to represent. The LGBTQ plus community has almost entirely rejected him, not because he is queer, but because of what his presence on their behalf did to how they are perceived. When his name comes up in queer spaces now, it is either used as a punchline or as an example of what performative advocacy looks like when it goes catastrophically wrong. Every conservative talking point about queer people being mentally unstable and being inappropriate around children, Fuzz99 accidentally validated every single one of them. Not because any of those things are true about queer people generally, but because he made such a consistently bad argument against them that his opponents did not need to construct a case. They could just point to him. He still posts as though none of this happened. He still opens with the foot stomp and the catchphrase. He still refers to his audience as fuzzballs. He still documents his gender adventures and haircuts and birthday messages with the same breathless all-caps urgency he has always used. There's something genuinely sad about watching someone this locked into a performance that stopped landing years ago, who does not seem to know how to be anything else. In 2020, he probably genuinely wanted to help people and make a difference. The platform became more important than the message somewhere along the way. And now, he is just a person screaming and shouting.
I want to start going by a different name, but I don't know where to start or what to do. My insides just feel like,
Mac, tell me what to do.
Malfano set out to be an educator. What he became was a cautionary tale, not about queerness or LGBTQ plus identity, but about what happens when a person becomes so addicted to the attention that comes from performing those things loudly that they lose any ability to examine whether the performance is actually helping anyone. The community he claimed to represent moved on without him. The job he used to ground himself in the real world is gone. The followers he spent 6 years accumulating watch mostly out of habit or a morbid curiosity. And in that same childhood bedroom with those same rainbow posters on the walls, he stomps his foot, gets close to the camera, and asks if you're glad you asked.
Hey, that's me!
In his desperate hunt for TikTok algorithms, Malfanis alienated the very community he claimed to represent, treated his real-world students like content props, and ruined a legitimate teaching career.
Is this how baby no money feels?
And now, all he does is celebrate getting 10,000 followers on Instagram.
Alright, moment of truth. Here we go. There's no turning back, man. Here we go. Let's click it. Let's go! Holy cow, bro. Holy cow. 10K, dude. 10,000. 10,000 buzzballs. That's crazy. That's crazy, dude.
He became a cautionary tale of how not to be a content creator. Now people who watch his video do so just to have a laugh.
You know I'm a TERF, right? Trans, eccentric, radical feminist.
Are you a TERF?
I'm a TERF.
Wow.
Would you like me to move somewhere else? I will.
No, actually, you should tell me about being a TERF.
You're a boy, right? Don't fuck with me, because honestly, I did hard.
I'd like to see you try.
Well then, don't judge me for being a TERF. I get to be who I want to be, you get to
Lily Tino has built an entire career solely based on outrage and on creating content that always looks to provoke serious emotions from the people around him.
Thank you. Can you call me sir? I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir.
What?
Called me sir.
Oh. Yeah, that's...
Just like, it kind of just hurts a lot to get called sir.
Oh, sorry about that.
And like you can guess, it doesn't always end up well for her.
Hi,
How's
I
it
know
going?
you wanted to sit at this table, but we have reservations, so
Oh.
we're going to have to move you to a smaller table.
Okay.
Are you having lunch with us today? Okay. So I can move you over here, then the server will get you started in a few minutes.
Okay, are all of these taken?
Yeah, the bigger tables have to be open because we have a lot of reservations today.
Okay,
so I can
what
put you
time-
in a smaller they're all different times, so we're about to set up this section for a party that's coming in.
Oh, okay.
So
What
you wanna
time
sit-
do you think they'll come in? Just because it'll probably be pretty loud, I would imagine, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I just don't want to set up at a table if it's going to get loud in like 30 minutes. Maybe it'd be...
It'll be loud everywhere in the cafe.
Okay.
Yeah. But so, would you like to still sit and eat? Because I can move you over here.
Just so I know, like, when do you think like this will be popping, I guess? Because it's like
We're
empty
about
now,
to hit
so...
our lunch rush right now. And
Okay.
We have a lot of reservation. It's the holiday. People are on break, so we expect to be busy all day.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can move you over here. It's probably gonna be the quietest right now. But
Okay. I think I'll probably just leave.
Okay.
It's completely empty in here, by the way. Like, completely empty. Someone sat me here and I was like, can I take the bigger table? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure she just kicked me out because she didn't like me or something. Lots of reservations, they say. Lots of reservations. When are the reservations? Oh, I don't know when the reservations are, but you can't be here, basically. Do you want to move to like a small table that is bad lighting? And even though we already told you could sit at this table.
Lily Tino, who was once seen as a fresh face on TikTok, a trans woman documenting her journey, sharing food reviews, and even handing out generous tips to waiters. For a while, people called her uplifting, even inspiring.
Hi, my name is Nick.
The internet's love affair with Lily didn't last. What started with wholesome content slowly turned into something darker, when she now leaned heavily into conflict.
It looks like he's having a nice feast.
She, her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good.
But it was not all good.
She started recording staged-looking encounters where strangers misgendered her, then blasting them to millions of viewers.
It looks like he's having a nice feast.
She, her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good.
But it was not all good.
Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not sir. Oh, sorry. Yeah, like it's like a knife in the heart. I did specifically ask ahead of time not to be called sir. Yeah, I'm just gonna go.
At first it worked. Outrage always gets clicks. But it soon became her entire content style and the cracks started to show.
Okay. The sweet water starts at... Okay.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It's just always like a knife. It always hurts every single time. I was wondering if there's a manager I could talk to about something that happened. Yeah, I was called sir. Oh, okay. It just really sucks every time it happens. I don't need to be called ma'am. I just need to not be called sir, you know? Thank you. Did you call me sir? I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir. What? Called me sir.
Oh.
Fans noticed the edits, the cuts, and the pauses in her videos. They questioned if the haters were just friends playing along. Others just pointed out how often the targets were underpaid restaurant workers, people with accents, people just trying to get through their shift that pays barely enough and still had to deal with Lily reporting them to the manager. Let me record and get some views for getting misgendered. Why speak with a manager and make people feel even more guilty for misgendering you? It's going to happen, get over it. Which she has done more than a few times.
Yeah. The sweet water starts at... Okay.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It's just always like a knife. It always hurts every single time. I was wondering if there's a manager I could talk to about something that happened. Yeah, I was called sir. Oh, okay. It just really sucks every time it happens. Sorry about that. I don't need to be called ma'am. I just need to not be called sir.
What once felt like activism started looking like harassment, but Lily didn't stop there. She took it as far as Disneyland, where she filmed herself talking about reassignment surgery, using corn dogs and other park confectionaries to physically describe the procedure in a place filled with children.
I'm gonna get banned from Disney. I swear, we're about to get banned from Disney. Last summer, I got my cake pops removed, and the plan up until recently was to get my marshmallow wand reconfigured into a marshmallow tunnel. Unfortunately, a few weeks ago, I noticed some hair regrowth on my marshmallow wand. That's bad because the outside of the wand is what becomes the inside of the tunnel, so you don't want hair growing there or else it's very uncomfortable. So I talked to my surgeon and he said that it would be best to postpone the procedure until after hair removal is complete. This is obviously disappointing because I was really excited to have a marshmallow tunnel sooner. That being said, it is still happening. We're just not sure when it's happening. Hair removal is a fickle thing and it's really hard to predict when it will finish. But my hair removal technician thinks it will be before the end of the year. So, fingers crossed.
As if that wasn't enough, she also posed for selfies inside all of the women's restrooms along with strangers, some of which were kids, and they were all caught in the background. Overnight, the quirky TikTok creator became the center of lawsuits, petitions, and a state investigation. While it looked like her world had suddenly come down crashing, then came the final blow. Fans started to dig up old posts, and among their findings were a photo of Lily in a Nutella blackface, a story she had written when she was younger, herself and another child at 3 years old, and a bunch of other questionable posts. For many, that crossed a line that couldn't be undone. The same internet that once praised her turned vicious. Even the trans community, who had defended her before, condemned her as harmful and dangerous. Petitions to ban her from TikTok gathered hundreds of thousands of signatures. Parents filed lawsuits and political office holders demanded jail time for her actions. Lily Tino's rise was fast as she achieved virality quickly, but her fall was even faster. And her story isn't just about one influencer's collapse. It's a warning about what happens when someone builds a platform on provocation, doubles down when the backlash comes, and ends up consumed by the very outrage they created. But before the fame and controversies, before the lawsuits, before the petitions, there was just a kid growing up in Georgia. A kid that was flamboyant, awkward, and also desperate to be seen. Lily Tino, born in Atlanta, never fit easily into the world around her. As a child, she was bigger than her peers, both in weight and in personality. Teachers and classmates often described her as expressive, flamboyant, even dramatic. But those traits that made her unique also made her a target. target. In middle school and high school, the teasing never let up. She tells that she was mocked for being overweight, called names for moving and speaking in ways her classmates decided were too feminine. It wasn't just occasional bullying, no. It was constant, the kind that seeps into one's sense of self and leaves scars that aren't visible on the outside. At home and in her private life, she found refuge in the internet. Online spaces became a second home, one where she could control her presentation in a way she never could in real life. She spent hours on gaming forums, chat rooms, and video platforms, trying on different personas like costumes. Sometimes she blended in, other times she deliberately stirred the pot just to make sure people noticed her. Even then, before she had an audience, she craved visibility. She didn't just want to exist and stay in oblivion. As she moved into her late teens and early 20s, she wrestled with something deeper, the mismatch between how the world saw her and how she saw herself. She began researching gender identity, scrolling through stories of transition, wondering if that could be her way out of the box she had been shoved into her whole life. In 2021, she stopped wondering and started acting. She began hormone therapy, first with spironolactone to block testosterone, then progesterone, and eventually estrogen. For Lily, every prescription bottle was a turning point and was not just a chemical change, but a step into a new life. She changed her name from Nicholas Contino to Lily Contino, and she began presenting herself as a woman in public. And most importantly, she didn't keep this process private. From the very beginning, she recorded it. She put it online on TikTok for strangers to witness. Her tagline was a trans girl on a mission, and sooner than later it became both a personal mantra and a marketing slogan for her. But Lily Tino wasn't always a controversial name in online spaces, no. In fact, her first steps into content creation looked almost ordinary. Some would say that even forgettable. She grew up like many others in small-town America, and lived a life that from the outside didn't look destined for internet fame. No one could have expected that she would go on to become a viral internet personality. Her early online footprint wasn't polished or carefully branded. Instead, she posted small, casual clips that captured the everyday grind. At the start of it all, her following was modest. It was built around diary-style TikToks that gave viewers a peek into her life and also her transition process. Sometimes she would use whatever was available to her to demonstrate as she described some of the surgical procedures she planned to undergo. The videos weren't glamorous, but that was exactly the point, and the main reason why people connected with her. Also in Lily's content, countless service workers were also able to now see their own frustrations mirrored back at them for the first time. In this pre-fame era, Lily's appeal was her relatability. She wasn't pushing boundaries or chasing controversy. She was just another worker documenting her reality, and TikTok rewarded her for it as those early clips set the foundation for what would come next. One of the important lessons for Lily at this stage was an understanding that vulnerability and rawness could attract attention, but soon she would realize that she could do so too with intensity and provocation. After her first viral video in which she had a little altercation with a man in the background at a restaurant and caught it all on camera, it was here that Lily began to realize the internet paid more attention, when she wasn't just relatable, but when she pushed further, saying the things that people either secretly agreed with or loudly hated. And slowly, those tired Cheesecake Factory rants would evolve into something sharper, something louder. What began as content rooted in service worker exhaustion would morph into the strategy that defined her rise and ultimately her downfall. These early videos showed a Lily who was still figuring things out. Sometimes she was confident, sometimes fragile, trying on makeup, experimenting with clothes, and sharing milestones that were deeply personal. The internet responded. Some comments were cruel, but many were encouraging. People called her brave. They told her she was an inspiration. I don't think people realize that some LGBTs reject themselves first, fight the feelings before they can accept themselves. For someone who had spent her entire childhood being ridiculed, that support meant everything. It was the validation that she never had and has never known. And it wasn't just about being accepted, it was more about being seen for her. To Lily, the difference between invisibility and visibility was the difference between pain and purpose. Over time, those small bursts of recognition grew into something bigger. She moved from experimenting with identity to experimenting with content. She started doing restaurant reviews, where she would live stream her experience at a new restaurant.
I'm a transgender food critic in San Francisco, and today we went to Credo. I ordered a Diet Coke to start, and they put a lime on there without me having to ask, which was actually really nice and set a good tone for the meal. They started by bringing out free bread with this incredible whipped butter.
Clips of her handing out huge tips to waiters made rounds on TikTok, and people got talking about her. And she watched as her following grew, and with it, her confidence.
Audience decided to start a tip contest.
Okay.
For you.
What? Okay.
And we've got a lot of money.
Wait, are you crazy?
No.
For real?
For real.
Oh my god.
Do you want to see? I'm going to write down the number. And
yes.
Because I want that, is it okay if they
of course.
see?
Oh my god.
I want to show you, this is how much money that people have just sent me in the past few minutes.
Are you joking? Thank you.
For the first time in her life, she wasn't the odd one out in the back of the classroom. She was the center of attention. She was the one everyone was talking about. But there was another side to it too. Even in those early days, the line between authenticity and performance was blurry to Lily. She used what she had learned from years of being chronically online to push her content along just enough so she could get a reaction. And that was her strategy on how she got millions of people reacting to her videos. For Lily, the internet wasn't just a place to share her transition. It was a stage, and she had no intention of stepping off it. Every creator has that one video that changes everything. For Lily Tino, it wasn't a makeup tutorial or a restaurant review. It was a confrontation, as we mentioned earlier. But let's take a moment and recap the origin of Lily's short-lived fame. The scene was Lily filming herself in the restaurant when a stranger begins arguing with her, loudly calling her a man.
You know I'm a TERF, right? Trans, eccentric, radical feminist.
Are you a TERF?
I'm a TERF.
Wow.
Would you like me to move somewhere else? I will.
No, actually, you should tell me about being a TERF.
You're a boy, right? Because honestly, I did hard.
I'd like to see you try.
Well then, don't judge me for being a TERF. I get to be who I want to be. You get to be who you want to be, right?
On camera, Lily stayed calm. She didn't yell back, she didn't lash out. She tried to explain and even reason with the stranger, but whoever it was, they weren't having it. So Lily, now out of options, simply recorded the exchange, posted it online, and let the internet do the rest.
If that's what you want, to be who you want to be, then I get to be who I want to be.
Which is?
I'm not a witch.
You're not a witch.
You know what? Take your stupid dog, eat your food, and get the out of my life, okay?
This is a first.
Because otherwise I have to label you a white racist.
I see.
For a 70-year-old minority woman, you're a racist. You want your rights, I want mine too.
Excuse me. Could you grab the manager, please?
I am so terribly sorry. I'll definitely be escalating on how I'm trying to get information, but I do apologize about that treatment. I do.
And the internet did what it always does. The clip spread like wildfire. TikTok stitched it, Twitter reposted it, comment sections lit up. Supporters praised Lily for her composure, for standing tall in the face of hate. The video made her look like a victim of casual transphobia who had handled the situation with grace. I'm so sorry, you are so full of grace in this moment. I'm so sorry you dealt with that. Overnight, her following skyrocketed, running into hundreds of thousands. But not everyone was convinced. Sharp-eyed viewers began dissecting the footage. The cuts in video looked suspicious. The woman's voice, her reactions, even the way the argument unfolded. Some said it felt quite unnatural and scripted. How did this start? I'm so confused how the TERF started up in your business? Rumors spread that the angry stranger wasn't a stranger at all, but a friend or someone that was paid playing a part. I can almost guarantee you paid her to do this. Whether staged or not, the video left a mark. It put Lily on the map, but it also planted the first seeds of doubt. Was she really the brave trans woman standing up to hate, or was she manufacturing drama to boost her fame? At first, the doubts didn't matter. The praise drowned them out. Major accounts reposted the clip, calling Lily an icon. Her follower count surged. Brands began circling. For Lily, this was validation on a scale she had never dreamed of. She had the attention, the sympathy, the spotlight. This was everything she'd chased since childhood, but attention is addictive. And for someone who had just tasted virality, one hit wasn't enough. The Cheesecake Factory moment taught Lily a powerful lesson. Outrage sells. Conflict drives clicks. Victimhood plays well online. And if people doubted the authenticity, that only fed the algorithm more. So Lily leaned into it. What began as one viral confrontation would become a formula. It was literally just a strategy for her to keep the numbers climbing. Every misgendering, every insult, every awkward moment became potential content.
10 out of 10, sir. Diana looks exclusive.
Oh, would you like to show your faces?
Yes.
Okay.
How is it?
First off, you called me sir, right?
Oh, I meant to say man. That's my
Oh, no.
What are your
Oh, okay.
pronouns?
No, okay.
What are your pronouns?
She, her.
She, her. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Never
What's
know.
your name?
I don't have a name. My name is. On Instagram, follow me.
There we go.
See you, sir.
Oh, wait, one more time? I didn't catch that.
I have been misgendered 3 times in the past 24 hours at restaurants. Last night I was at Benihana with my girlfriend and the server said, "What about you, sir? What would you like to eat?" My girlfriend, God bless her heart, steps in, says, "Actually, that's ma'am." And she looks at my girlfriend and didn't really understand what had happened and said, no, I'm talking to him, pointing at me. Our jaws were on the floor and we decided to leave because it was just a bad vibe.
The Cheesecake Factory video wasn't just her breakout, it was the blueprint for everything that came after. After the Cheesecake Factory clip, Lily began changing her approach to content. What had once been mostly makeup tutorials and positive messaging slowly shifted into a different style. She realized that moments of confrontation, whether real or perceived, captured far more attention than anything else she had posted before. Her page started filling up with clips of everyday encounters where people misgendered her or treated her differently. Sometimes it was a cashier at a grocery store, sometimes a server at a fast food restaurant, other times it was a short exchange with someone in public. The situations varied, but the format stayed consistent. Lily filming herself, highlighting the moment she was addressed incorrectly, and then sharing it with her followers.
Me and my girlfriend were going to a wine castle, and we sat down for our tasting. And at first they were just very rude and didn't really answer our questions, and we didn't really feel welcome. Our server said, "Yes, sir," when I was asking some questions, and I said, "Oh, no, I'm actually not a sir." And instead of apologizing, or I don't know what else you would do other than apologize, they just walked away. Did not acknowledge what I said, just walked away. We saw the server like whispering to a manager, and a few minutes later, the manager came over and, really big smile, not acknowledging at all that the misgender had happened. And I say, "Hey, look, the last person, they misgendered me and that really hurt." And they just walked away. And the manager said, "Oh, well, some people just aren't as progressive as you." And then they gave us a nice little chocolate that suggested they wanted our money, but didn't want to say sorry. So we left and got a full refund. It's one thing to get misgendered and then get an apology, but it's another thing to get misgendered and then be told that it's okay and not to worry about it, and here's a chocolate.
The audience response followed a clear pattern too. Many of her supporters saw that the clips as educational, showing the small but constant challenges that trans women face. They praised her for calling it out and used her videos to spark conversations about respect, pronouns, and trans rights. "I'm sorry, Mom. You're the strongest woman in the world. I really don't know why people are so rude. You deserve much better love, you and your videos." But not everyone saw it that way. A growing number of viewers began to feel that the clips were more manufactured than authentic. Some accused her of deliberately provoking people, or even staging interactions with friends or relatives to make the conflicts seem real. A commenter who claimed to work in hospitality gave what most deemed a fair review when she said, "I'm sorry you get misgendered. While working in hospitality, I followed a training in order to avoid situations like that. Though I've watched some of your clips and it comes across as if you seem to be constantly looking for attention in a negative way. You do not appear to be genuine. I feel that is too bad. With a bit more kindness and understanding, you could do so more." The idea that Lily was exploiting strangers who were often low-wage workers who had no idea they were being recorded for millions online. And that became the theme of the common critique. The entitlement is kind of disgusting. Bro, you will learn that not everyone will play along with a forced delusional narrative. I recommend you man up and move on. Despite the pushback, the numbers told their own story. Each new clip drew views. Each new controversy gained traction. Lily's name stayed in circulation, and her following kept climbing. For Lily, the pattern became clear. Doing regular makeup content and lifestyle posts could keep her baseline audience engaged, but the confrontational videos were the ones that broke through.
Did you call me sir? Hey, I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir.
What?
Called me sir.
Oh.
It's just like, it kind of just hurts a lot to get called sir.
Oh, sorry about that.
This was the beginning of what many call her rage bait era, a period where confrontation wasn't just part of her content, it was her content. Over time, though, the routine started to wear thin. People who once defended her began to question her intentions. Others who had only recently discovered her content quickly dismissed it as exploitative or repetitive, even by members of the LGBTQ community. As a gay guy, this freak show is an uneducated moron, his voice proves, and he hasn't had bottom surgery. Still, he is a fraud and the ugliest man I have. But for Lily, the attention, whether positive or negative, kept her relevant, and in the social media ecosystem, relevance was everything. The rage bait era made Lily a recognizable figure, but it also marked the point where her audience became divided. On one hand, there were loyal supporters who saw her content as raising awareness, and on the other hand were critics who believed she was exploiting outrage for personal gain. One of the earliest clips after Cheesecake Factory came from a drive-thru. Lily filmed herself ordering food, and when the employee addressed her as sir, she paused, repeated her order, and posted the interaction. The video quickly picked up traction. Supporters said it was another example of the everyday challenges trans women face, while critics argued the employee had simply made an honest mistake under pressure.
Sorry, this steak is quite bad. I'm sorry. Could I swap it out for the 3 cheese chicken penne? Yeah. Oh boy, I was gonna flag someone down. I'm so sorry. There was definitely a hair in this pasta.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll just give it back, and I'll probably just. Yeah. It was like a black hair about this big.
Black hair?
Yeah.
Do you know what the hair is?
Huh?
Do you know what the hair is?
Do I need to show you the hair?
Well, I need some proof, you know. So if you say what's the hair on the pasta, so
It was probably like a black hair about that big. Yeah.
Alright, give me 1 second.
Okay, thank you.
Not long after, there was the clip at another restaurant. This one had a nice outdoor setting, and Lily was seated at a table when a lady walked up to her and asked her if she was live streaming. Lily confirmed that she was, and the lady again asked her if she was telling people to come eat there for free. Lily looked startled as she did no such thing, but then she tried to explain to the lady that those calls she received were from internet trolls that were trying to get her kicked out. This was enough, and the lady walked away initially, only to return 10 minutes later to inform Lily that more people were calling in now. Lily kept the camera on herself, and you could see she was visibly frustrated as she suggested to the lady that she could leave the restaurant if she'd like. But the lady kept it polite and said she was just confused about it all.
Could I do the... Oh, ignore it.
They say that you're calling and you tell company for free food.
No. It's not true.
Okay. So many people calling me already.
I'm so sorry.
They calling me because they say they can come here and can order like free food.
They're saying that I'm saying that you can come here and order free food.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah. So can you tell with them like
In
my restaurant we just open for customers.
Oh, I trust me, I understand. I never said that there was any free food. Those are internet trolls.
Yeah.
But if you'd like, I'm happy to get the check now and leave so that I can be out of your hair.
But because they just calling me, say, because why you keep saying like that, blah, blah, blah. I say, I don't know.
The clip circulated widely, sparking debates in the comments about whether Lily should be blamed or if the trolls had put her in an unfair situation. One fan wrote, "I'm no fan of her, but she was really handling this situation with dignity and the most respect for the restaurant." Another pointed out no matter what people felt about Lily, the owner of the restaurant didn't deserve that, as all they were able to do was disrupt her business for the day, and others echoed that take. To be fair, the people harassing a restaurant over a person they don't like is ridiculous. No restaurant owner deserves that or has time for that. Not everyone sympathized with Lily. Others solely focused on the fact that after she said that she wanted to leave a big tip for the restaurant, she now asked her viewers and fans to contribute to the tip. Another comment suggested that she hid the locations that she was eating at. All this became almost a routine for Lily for most of her subsequent posts. Another viral moment came at a grocery checkout line. The cashier, clearly flustered with a long line of customers, misgendered Lily while bagging items. Lily posted the footage with the caption about how exhausting it is to be disrespected in daily life. Again, it went viral. The pattern repeated. Her audience split between people expressing sympathy and people accusing her of blowing minor mistakes out of proportion. Over time, the confrontations seemed to escalate. In the initial Cheesecake Factory video, Lily remained calm, but in her later posts, she would often be seen raising her voice or pushing back more aggressively at these waiters and regularly asking to speak to the manager. The rage bait formula gave Lily Tino her rise, but it also set the stage for her undoing. What had once been seen as awareness-raising content slowly came to be viewed as manipulative, exploitative, and even dangerous. The first major cracks appeared with her bathroom content. Lily began taking mirror selfies and short clips inside women's restrooms at places like Disney World. In these videos, other women and children could be seen in the background, people who had never consented to being filmed, much less broadcast to millions online. Soon reports surfaced that several women who appeared in Lily's background shots were considering legal action. Florida law is explicit about prohibiting unauthorized photography in spaces where people expect privacy, and bathrooms fall squarely into that category. The impact on her reputation was significant. Where Lily had once been defended by much of the trans community, more and more voices turned against her. Activists accused her of doing lasting harm, feeding opponents of trans rights with material that painted trans women as deceptive or predatory. Even some of her early defenders admitted publicly that they could no longer support her. The pressure seemed to mount on Lily herself. Though she continued posting through the backlash for a while, the tone of her content shifted, sometimes defensive, sometimes defiant, but rarely celebratory. In July 2025, she announced she was stepping away from TikTok, at least temporarily. Whether that decision was driven by legal concerns, mental strain, or simply the difficulty of sustaining her old formula, it marked the first major pause in a career built entirely on constant visibility. In the end, Lily Tino's story became one for the books. The very tactics that once made her impossible to ignore ultimately made her reputation impossible to repair.